Hi. Okay. I'm going to record for you. I don't need these. I'm going to record for you now the eighth Tuner tale. Tuner goes to Florida. Tuner was going to Florida. She was going to ride the train all the way there. It would take 2 days, but she didn't mind at all. Last time they had gone, the beach had been dredged and huge conch shells lay about the surf's edge. Mom had decided to fill an extra suitcase to drag the shells back home to Montreal. Tuner had wanted Mom to carry her from the train platform to their apartment, but she couldn't because of the suitcases. It was very hard to walk all the way when she was so tired at night. But going was the part of the journey she really liked. Tuner liked the people on the train. Everyone was friendly and spoke English with her. They were all heading down south. Tuner played in between the cars, balancing on the moving floor between the doorways. She could run up and down the aisles and push the buttons for the doors to open for her, sway on the rumbling floor connecting the two cars, and then, when she had had enough thrill, she could push the button and dash back to her seat. Tuner could read her book, just like Mom. Tuner always had a book with her. She used to peruse the pictures, but now she could read for real and pass her time in another world. Tuner had read the Narnia series and Charlotte's Web, and now she was reading Old Mother West Wind's stories about Reddy Fox and Bowser the Hound. Sometimes Mom had conversations with other people on the train, but mostly she read her book and looked out the window. Tuner loved the part of the trip where the tracks ran through wild country, up and down mountains and through lake-dotted scenes where the egrets were. She never saw egrets in Montreal. Somewhere around North Carolina, the air began to sweeten and thicken like sunny syrup and growing green things. Vines grew up the trees. People talked slow. She could almost smell the beach. When they got to the station at Hollywood Beach, Florida, they were almost there. Inside the station was a little shop selling little bits of everything. Toothpaste and flip-flops were the first things to get. Tuner had shoes with holes in them. She'd worn them out on the gritty, slushy streets of Montreal. But now she had new flip-flops to wear across the burning sand, so her old shoes went straight into the garbage. It was only a few minutes' walk from the train platform to her grandmother's house on the canal. Grandmaman always made something delicious when they arrived. She didn't make it in advance, but got cooking as they walked in the door. It felt like there was no time lost between this visit and the last. Grandmaman was taller than Mom, and she had reddish blondish hair curled in waves around her face. She used to work at the beauty shop with Grand-père, but now they were divorced, so she worked in a plant nursery. Grandmaman spent her hours picking tiny holes into earth-filled pots to plant fragile seedlings once they got their second set of leaves. There was a screened-in porch at her house on the canal where Tuner could play catching lizards without worrying about crocodiles. Grandmaman also collected seashells and made them into strands of chimes to hang in the wind. Tuner also liked to go to the water's edge where there were little sandy spots where the fiddler crabs lived. She knew how to pick them up from behind their pinchers. But one time a big crab pinched her thumb and Tuner had to shake it off. Tuner hoped that if she was quiet, she might see a manatee. Manatees used to be mistaken for mermaids, and Tuner wanted to see for herself if this could be true. Sailors and fishermen told tall tales, so Tuner was suspicious. Auntie and Uncle lived nearby in the trailer park, where there was a swimming pool. They would always come over to have supper with Grandmaman on the first day of the visit. Auntie's trailer was like a train, narrow and high up off the ground. Auntie also had a screened-in porch with an awning, so it wasn't too hot. She had plants as big as trees in pots all around her trailer, and an avocado tree grew across the way, dropping avocados on her yard. Inside the trailer was a living room with a comfy U-shaped couch and TV, then a kitchen and table and chairs to sit, then the bathroom, and then at the end there was a bedroom filled with a huge bed. It was just the right space for two. Auntie also had two cats to play with. They also tried catching lizards. After supper at Grandmaman's house, they walked along the street next to the canal to see the banana tree. Grandmaman brought a fish net with her too, because sometimes you could scoop fish out of the canal at sunset. Tuner thought the holes were too big to catch guppies with, but Grandmaman said it was worth a try. The bananas weren't yet ripe. It was a wild banana, and all the neighbors were keeping an eye on it. Every sunrise and sunset, Grandmaman would check on it to be sure to get the first ripe bunch. But somebody was impatient and cut the bunch of bananas too soon. Still, they made their way to a low part of the bank and drew the net through the water a few times. They never did catch any fish, but Tuner enjoyed the feeling of cool water on her feet. When it was the weekend, Grandmaman could drive them to the beach. They packed straw tote bags full of fruit to eat to keep cool and sun-tanning oil, and brought beach chairs and towels and a mat for the hot sand. They also had a blue umbrella to give them shade. The car was hot, and Tuner's skin felt burning on the vinyl seat, but the drive was short. There was a boardwalk across the dunes to the beach, and under the wooden planks of the boardwalk lived huge snails. Tuner wanted to pick a few snails to bring to their spot on the sand to be her pets. Mom said they could bring a few snails back on the way home, but that to get them now would mean they would die from the heat. Once everything was set up, Tuner ran down to the ocean. Tuner didn't care about making friends with other kids right now. She just wanted to sit in the sand. The firm, wet sand was cool enough, and she stretched her legs into the sea. Tuner thought about the parks and sandboxes she played in at home and thought, there is no use in sand without water. Here it was perfect. Her little bum had sunk into a hollow spot in the sand, and the waves watered her legs and feet. In a little while she would get up and look for shells. But for now she was captivated by the horizon. She couldn't tell where the water met the sky. Sometimes an oil tanker would go by, and she could tell they were very far away. The waves continued to rock her into a blissful calm. Tuner couldn't look at the sun. It was too bright, so instead she looked at the waves. She sat for a long time. When Tuner decided to look for shells, she turned around to see where Mom was. Mom was nowhere. There was no blue umbrella behind her, no bags of fruit, no sandproof mat, no Grandmaman. There were a lot of other groups on the sand, but not her group anywhere as far as she could see. Tuner decided to walk to the lifeguard tower. The dry sand was lava hot. When she got to the tower, she was very tired. She asked where Hollywood Beach was and was pointed in the right direction. The waves had quietly carried her several miles down the beach towards a big pier. So now she made her way back to the cooler wet sand and walked with the pier at her back, scanning the beach as she went for the big blue umbrella. She passed 2, then 3 lifeguard towers. Tuner was beginning to worry a lot. What if Mom and everyone had gone home already? She didn't know the way. She was feeling thirsty and hungry and tired. What if she couldn't make it back? Her feet hurt. Tuner was thinking about asking for help again when she spotted the blue umbrella several yards away. Mom was lying in the sun reading her book. It was already time to go back home when Tuner finally got to the spot. They packed up all their gear and made their way back across the boardwalk, but Tuner was unsettled and forgot to bring back any snails. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you for listening, and in a couple of days you'll get the 9th Tuner tale. Bye now.